Hello and Merry Christmas if you're listening to this the day it is coming out. This is the Hollywood Actor's Guide to Surviving the Film and TV Industry with your host, Jennifer Lynn Warren, here in Hollywood, California over the holidays, because you know what? When everybody else goes out of town, I'm here to take all the auditions. It's not as busy as I'd like it to be, but it always seems to pick up just a little bit around this time of year, and I do think that's why. It's because a lot of actors go home for Christmas, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you happen to be one of the few around, now's a really good time to be self-submitting and putting yourself out there, because a lot of actors have left town. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." And he's so right. And one of the things we tend to do as actors is we waste so much time on our careers. And that's a question. It came up in Bonnie Gillespie's Self-Management for Actors group. And I'm not sure what she's going to put out in her blog for her answer, but I wanted to hit you with my answer to how to stop wasting time as actors. And number one is stay off the internet. I know that's not going to be very popular, but a lot of times we get sucked into Facebook and Instagram and looking at everybody else's careers that we are not looking at our own. So that's number one, get off the internet. Number two is on your phone, get out of your emails. If your agent and manager is going to be sending you something, you should already have that set up as a notice so that you get a text message with a certain sound so you know that it's a priority and it's important. You should not be checking your emails every 5 minutes. So I would even say shut off your phone and just start focusing. And number three, I would write out goals and I would write out a plan. I know that it's like really big right at the new year to do this, but why would you wait for the new year? Do it now. Sit down and figure out what you want to have happen over the next hour, day, week, month, year, 5 years, 10 years, and put it on paper and then work backwards. And we did a podcast about this before, so go back and, listen from the beginning, but go back and reverse engineer what you would need to do to be able to get to your goals, but write it out. The next thing I would say to do, number four, go slower. You guys are rushing everything. You want to book everything right away. You just want that series regular role right now. And it's just a lot of times you're the anxiety and the depression that artists have, you're making it worse for yourself when you're giving yourself an unrealistic timeline. So go slower when you're preparing your auditions, go slower when you're, take that time to just sit down, even set a timer for a half an hour and go into your journal and just let yourself write and think without any distractions. Slow down about what you really need to do and get clear on what you need to do, right? The next thing, number five, is I would stick to the task at hand. So a lot of you have your hands in so many fires. You're like, I need to update my resume. I need to get new headshots. I need to send out agent submission letters. You give me this laundry list of things that you need to do. And I would say, great. It's great that you have a list. I did tell you to make a list. I told you to make some goals. But let's put first things first. Okay, what's the first thing that makes the most sense to do? Is it updating your resume? Great. Then that is all we're going to do. Stop thinking about your headshots. Stop thinking about agents. Just take a deep breath. Make yourself maybe a nice cup of tea. Sit down and really focus on just updating that resume, making it beautiful. Because when you just stick to one task at a time and you actually complete it, everything else feels so much more doable. And the sixth thing I would say to stop wasting time is to give yourself a stop sign, like really a stop sign. Did I say sign? I meant time. Give yourself a time, a date in which something's going to be completed, right? So let's say you have next Tuesday off from your survival job. Say, all right, I will have my resume updated and sent to my manager, however you want to put it, by 6 o'clock that night. If you know that it's due by 6 o'clock, and we are like Pavlov's dogs. The one good thing that going to school taught us was our homework had to be turned in by third period on Tuesday. Then we got our homework turned in by third period on Tuesday. And that's still ingrained in our DNA. So use that to your advantage. Give yourself a stop time, just like it's homework that's due, and get that homework turned in. When you are working on a scene and you're looking at the architecture, how the scene is built, and you are looking at the emotional places and the physical places that your character is beginning and ending in a scene, you never want to begin and end in the same place. So if you're playing, let's say we're doing the scene as Jack and Jill fall down a hill to catch a pail of water. Let's see if I can remember this. Jack falls down and broke his crown, and Jill comes tumbling after, right? So when you are Jack and Jill going up that hill, maybe you're happy and you're in a good place. Maybe you guys are having a fight. Maybe, you make a choice and a decision about, where you are. Obviously, we don't have the scene written out in front of us, but if this is all the information you have, is that they walk up a hill and then Jack falls down and Jill falls after him, then, you make those decisions. You have to make some decision, right? So let's say Jack and Jill are merrily going up the hill, they're in love, and then Jack falls and he smashes his head. Jill falls after him. She's not going to still be in a happy place. Yes, that is a choice you could make. You could be happy, they fall down, they laugh about it, they're happy, end of the scene. But that doesn't really move anything forward, and that also doesn't give the director anything or the editor anything to work with, and it's really boring. It's really, really boring. So if Jack is smashing his head in, then Jill's going to be concerned, panicking, so she's going to begin happy, ending in a panic, right? Or maybe they're having a fight while they're going up the hill, and then Jack falls down. He hits his head. It's not too bad. I mean, it says he broke his crown, but let's say it's like a metal crown on his head, so it's not his actual head. She falls after him, and then they end up in a fit of uproarious laughter, and they're all happy. You want to do this with every single scene that you look at. You want to look at the architecture, and you never want to begin and end in the same emotional place. Sometimes not even in the same physical place, right? So if you are playing someone who's happy, the way your physicality is going to be different. If you're concerned, your body is going to be responding differently. So when let's say you're doing a self-tape for this audition of Jack and Jill, and you're happy, Jill, you want to make sure like the way you're standing and breathing is different when you're happy than when you're concerned about Jack at the end, because that's going to translate so beautifully on camera, and it's going to give everybody something to work with. And in our final segment today, I'm going to give a word of caution for those of you who go out on auditions to play things like bank tellers, anybody in the financial field, accountants, people who are really buttoned up, so to say. I see a lot of actors going in and making these very buttoned up decisions and choices about this character, and they're making them very much like cardboard. And you have to give these people a lot of warmth. You have to realize that they have families. They got stuck in traffic on the way over. Like, they have lives. They have parents. They're rich and they're colorful. Just because they're buttoned up and they're very formal, and maybe the scene doesn't give you too much to do, or even think a bigger trap is in the commercial world. If you're playing, someone who's like, I'm a banker at Fidelity Mutual, or I'm a hedge fund manager for blah, blah hedge fund investments. You see, I don't go out for these very often. But for those of you who do, When I see you guys doing these auditions or even playing these characters, and the cringy commercials that I see actors on are the ones where they just treat it like this cardboard, one-dimensional character. The people that do really well, like Flo, we all know who Flo from Progressive is, right? She's not just a sales lady on the floor. She's so funny, but she's so warm, and she seems to care about everyone so much. And that's why she went on to make $1 million a commercial, is because she was able to bring that warmth and real maternity to that character. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. So thank you very much for joining us. If you'd like, you can follow us at Hollywood Actors Guide on Instagram, or email us at hollywoodactorsguide@gmail.com. Until then, guys, happy holidays. Stay safe out there. Break a leg, and remember, you are not alone.